not running to make history, but running to make a difference. The modern civil rights movement started not just with Rosa Parks taking her seat. It started years and decades before with the Reverend Vernon Johns marching on the City Hall, which I now sit in the 44 colored school children. And it led to him being run out of Montgomery to bring in a 26-year-old bourgeois pastor from Morehouse College who was supposed to bring in and know how to act. And within 9 months, he was leading a movement by those very elders who had been leading before him. And I say this to say to our young people, leadership and change knows no title, it knows no age, it knows no level of stamina or longevity. It only knows your heart, your courage, and your commitment. So I'm honored to be able to be here on behalf of my family, my wife Tamika and Klein and Kyla, who couldn't be here, and my entire staff at City Hall. But I want to say this about being the CEO of a city. Our black mayors are under attack. Black mayors are under attack, and we need to understand that. And as the former president of the African American Mayors Association, I'm glad to follow my brother Brandon Scott right now in Baltimore, who's doing great things as our president. But we need to understand the power of local leadership. That's right. Because as Maynard Jackson said, it's about the ballot, the book, and the buck. And that happens right at the local level. And quite frankly, a lot of us talk about what's happening in DC, and I would argue that DC is the sideshow. The main event is what's happening in your city hall. The main event is what's taking place. And as I said to several elected officials after the Calais versus Louisiana decision, I said, do y'all think they stop in Congress? Or y'all think they're going to go to these city council districts we have drawn a certain way and make them at-large districts? And so for people who don't think that local government matters, when you consider our procurement of minority businesses was less than 5% when I came in, and we're already at 18%. And I'm not satisfied, I'm not happy, as you can tell by my tone, but it is a significant difference in money we're putting into black and women-owned businesses. That makes a difference, because political power should beget economic power, and economic power should beget political power. And when we do that, we can write more checks to Collective PAC. We can write bigger checks to our candidates, so they're not bossed and bought by others, but they will listen to the needs of those who have put them where they are. And so I just say to this room that while we are the church of the saved, as Mayor Morial said, not everybody in church is saved. Everybody who go to church is saved. So I want us not to take anything for granted, because in Alabama alone, we had over 600,000 people who did not vote in the 2024 election. We had 50,000 in my county alone, where the march from Selma to Montgomery ended, who did not vote. So I don't want us to assume anybody by friendship or affiliation or association is automatically saved. We have to be sure that we activate people in this year, in this moment, because the civil rights movement is here. We are in the redemption period. So for those of you who are wondering what that is a period of watering down, let me just put it like that, black political power that happened under Reconstruction. And so it's not quite to Jim Crow yet. Not yet. But we have to understand what this looks like when you're talking about judgeships and you're talking about district attorneys' offices. They come back and then blame you for the crime that's going up. They come back and blame you for what you aren't doing. We have to understand that these things are happening at the local level and in our state houses across this country. And so I'm all for everybody that's running for Congress. I'm all for taking back all the power. These are the United States of America. And the one thing that the conservative movement has understood since the election of President Barack Hussein Obama was that it is the states. It is the states where there is the power. And since 2010, we lost 977 state legislative seats. Why does that matter to the mayor? Because if I don't have my friends in the State House, in Baton Rouge, in Jackson, in Montgomery, in Little Rock, Atlanta, Nashville, and everywhere else, then they come for me right after they come for them. And so we have to be sure that we aren't getting caught up in just the hype of what's on the news and what's getting all the clicks and the likes. Understand how this movement is working, and understand that while it may be political right now, as I told my corporate Negroes in Dallas, Texas just last month, it's coming for you next. Because you ain't get there from PV, and you ain't get there from Texas Southern just because you're the baddest and the smartest ever come out of PV and Texas Southern. You got there because somebody political opened up some doors for you to get where you are in Raytheon and everywhere else, when you living out in North Texas and North Dallas and Woodlands and Houston and everywhere else, and I can bring it back to my home city of Montgomery. My point is very much this. This isn't just a political issue for those who say, I don't do politics. It's a power and influence issue. And power and influence impacts your wallet, it impacts your checkbook, it impacts your savings and your investment account at all levels. So I want us to understand why we need to pay attention, why we need to get involved, and why we need to get engaged. Because while there are so many that focus on registration, I'm focused on activation. And that starts in my fraternity, that starts in my church, that starts in all the men's groups I'm a part of, that starts everywhere because black women have been holding us down and black men have to do their part and quit talking about why they aren't. So I want us to just conclude with this. Have a great time while we're here. I'm about to get out of this time since I'm obviously overdressed for the moment. But I want us to have a great time tonight, but I want us to make sure that we're committed to doing the work come Monday morning. Because between now and November, we've got a lot of work to do. Now I want to just say this, since I had two pastors up here, I'm not one, but I play one every now and then. I want you to repeat after me. We have a lot of work to do. 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 Let's do the damn work.